I was excited. I couldn't wait to go to high school. I was ready to take on my future. But that was before busing. Then I was angry. I was afraid. I was confused. I began to question what my life would be like. I realized that I was a guinea pig in a big social experiment. I was a victim of desegregation. Now, many people may hear me say that and think that I have prejudices or that I didn't want our schools, communities, and relationships to change. But the reality was, I was traumatized. I spent my 8th and ninth grade years in private school because my parents couldn't fathom sending me to get an education amidst such confusion. But during my sophomore year, I convinced them that George Wythe was a good school and was where I wanted to be. I was placed in an environment that was totally different from anything I had ever known. I witnessed violence, drug use, and encountered some very disrespectful people. I found myself becoming more aggressive and defiant than ever before in my life. I couldn't believe that the school I had always dreamed of going to, became my worst nightmare. I spent the first few weeks to myself. I would interact with the kids that I had grown up with in my neighborhood, but it was as if everyone was out for themselves. It was a case of survival of the fittest. As football season approached, I contemplated whether or not I wanted to try out for the cheerleading squad. I had cheered 2 years before, but was worried that I wouldn't make the cut. Surprisingly, a few of my close friends and I made it, as well as many girls I didn't know, most of whom were black. I questioned whether or not we would get along and what it would be like to have an integrated squad in a city where few schools were integrated. But I was determined to make my high school experience a success. So I took a chance and actually became friends with people who looked nothing like me. The black girls on the squad would often joke with us and say, "No, girl, that's not how you do it. You gotta give it some soul." Keep in mind, I hadn't been exposed to any sort of soul where I was from, but I quickly learned what that meant, and I found that I actually enjoyed our soulful cheers, chants, and dance moves. As I reminisce about my time at George Wythe, I realized that although I didn't agree with busing, and even if we were victimized guinea pigs, I am especially thankful that I had the opportunity to get to know people both in and outside of the classroom. Cheering definitely helped to create a more positive atmosphere for me, and I developed some great friendships. My experiences at George Wythe gave me a confidence and cultural understanding that I would have not had otherwise. I am proud to have been a part of history and to have helped make integration a reality.